Okay, so today we're just going to go over, well, we're going to make a bullet system really quick, and then we're going to make our bullets be different colors every time they're shot, so you get the effect of like, oh, I shoot once, I get a blue bullet, I shoot the next time, I get a red bullet. So first thing we're going to do, this is kind of assuming you already have some sort of bullet system set up, but just in case you don't, I'm just going to make one really quick. We're going to go ahead and import the characters standard asset package. That way we can use the first person controller prefab that's included within the package. And this is all going to be in C#, of course, because JavaScript is not, yeah, JavaScript is JavaScript. Okay, once your package is imported, let's just go ahead and make a ground really quick. So we'll just make a cube, reset its transform component, navigate to it, just set y is -1, and then we can just make the scale 10 by well, let's do 15 by 20. Sorry, that's the wrong one. 20. There we go. That's good. Okay, so next thing you want to do is delete the main camera, and then just go ahead and drag and drop. I'm just going to do the standard FPS controller that has the character controller for this example. It should work either way. Just drag them a little bit above just to make sure that should work. Yep. So we got a working first person now. So now what we're going to do is we're going to make a new script. I'm just going to name mine player script. Go ahead and open that up in whatever script editor you're using. I'm going to use MonoDevelop, and just to stay organized, I'm going to make a scripts folder while this opens. So there are lots of ways to do things in coding, but today well, it depends. I'm not entirely sure yet, but I'm thinking we're going to create a custom function for shooting, and then we'll do the color selection with an array and do random selection from elements in the array. So first thing you want to do, let's just go ahead and make a custom function, void shoot. And actually, before we even do this, let's just make a bullet prefab. So let's just make it a sphere for now, and let's have the values be 0.3 all around on the scale axes. So we'll just drag and drop this, name it bullet. You can go ahead and delete it from the scene. And then we also actually, this is pretty important, we need to make some sort of reference point. So almost, I'm just going to make like a gun, sort of, and I'll just give it a different color so you can see it. That's good. Because this gives the player a reference point to know where they're shooting from, so just kind of position that how you want it. That looks good. Okay, and then from there, go ahead and disable, well, you can probably remove the box collider entirely, and then just child it under your controller. So that, let's go ahead and put it under the first person character too, so it follows the camera. Yeah, there we go. I mean, it's nowhere near perfect, but it works. Although it does kind of bother me how it goes to the floor, so I'm just going to change it to 1 and have it like that. It still goes to the floor, but whatever, no one cares. Okay, so actually I do care. It annoys me. Have it be 0.5, yeah, that's decent, that's pretty good. Okay, so now that we have that, okay, whatever. Now that we have that, we actually want some sort of reference point. So I'm just going to create my reference point to be on the end of this, because that's where the bullets are going to come out, you know, from the end of the bullet. So to do that, there are lots of ways you can do this. But I'm going to make a cube. I'm going to resize it down to, like, let's say 0.2 all around, and I'm going to position it right there is about good. And now I want to disable or remove both the box collider and the mesh renderer, and I'll child this under my cube so it follows around with it, and then I'll name this spawn position. Yeah, now I think that's everything we need here, and let's go back to the script. So in your player script, void shoot, well, actually we need a rigid body on our bullet prefab, so go ahead and add that. Default value should be okay. So there we go. Void shoot. First we have to create a reference to our bullet, so we're going to say public game object bullet, and then we can assign that in the inspector. And then we'll say, here's where things get a little complex. We actually have to do casting, which is sort of a more advanced concept, but it's okay if you don't understand it. So we're going to say game object, and then we'll say instance, because we want to manipulate this one instance of the bullet, not the actual prefab itself. So we're going to say instance is equal to game object, there's our cast, and then we're just going to instantiate it as normal. So then we're going to say bullet, and then we actually need another reference to the spawn coordinates, so we're going to say public game object coordinates. So then we can say chords.transform.position, and then we'll just say, well, actually, in fact, we'll go chords.transform.rotation. There we go. After that, we want to apply force to our bullet, right? So we're going to say instance.getComponent, and then we're going to grab the rigid body. We're going to say add force, and we're going to say we'll see if this works. No. We'll see if that works. I'm not entirely sure about that yet. Force mode dot velocity change is usually what I use. You don't have to. And then we want to destroy our bullets after a certain amount of time, so it doesn't clog up the scene and make our game lag over time. You know, we don't care about bullets that aren't being really manipulated anymore. I don't know. This is probably something really simple, but I can't find my destroy. Just joking. I never said a word. It was a weird moment. Okay, so let's just say after 20 seconds it will destroy itself. That should work after we assign these references. So we're just going to go ahead and drag player script onto here, assign the references, bullet into here, coordinates should be at spawn pos. Okay, let's see if it works. No, actually, because there's actually a really good reason for this. There is a really good reason for this. I just need to figure out what it is first. I'm going to save the scene. Well, I'm not sure if this is the problem, but we're going to have to do this anyways. So go ahead and make a public float, and we'll say bullet speed, and this will be the speed that the bullet has. So here we'll say times bullet speed, and then we also want it to be frame rate independent, so we'll say time.delta time. Hope we don't get any errors. No errors. Okay, so let's change this to 1 and see what happens. Oh, okay. Right now it's just a function. It's not being called in any way. So we're gonna put an if statement in here. I don't know. I'm not feeling it today. Okay. So if input dot get key down key code dot mouse 0. So that's the left click button on the mouse. And then we just want to call our shoot function. And it has no parameters. So now it should work. Yeah, there we go. See, it's working. Although let's make our bullets a different color because it's a little hard to see them. So we'll go ahead and make a new material. And then let's have them be a light green. And they're not really shooting. We want them to shoot forward more. So let's change that speed value to, like, let's try 10. No, it's still got to be higher. Okay. Let's say 100. Let's see how that works. It's still barely shooting. Let's say 300. There we go. That's better. That's pretty good. Okay, so as you can see, we have a working bullet system now. We can shoot bullets. It's pretty cool. Okay, now here comes the more complex part. Here's where we want to do colors. So you're going to use something called an array, and an array is basically a game object. Well, instead of making tons of game objects or variables, sorry, variables, game objects is the wrong word. Instead of making tons of variables, I can make one variable and make that variable an array. And what an array is basically it's like a container that has many of the same variable types within that container, and you can grab different variables out of that container. And they're really cool, actually. It's a little hard to explain, but once you see it, I think it will make more sense. And that was a pretty bad explanation on my part too. So here we're going to say public color. When we make an array, we got to put these brackets here to define it as an array, and we're going to name these let's just say calls. And then there are lots of ways you can initiate an array, but we're just going to do new color, and then we'll say, let's say we want to have, I don't know, 5 colors. That's pretty good. It randomly selects from 5. So what we could do is assign these colors within scripts, and the way we do that, we're not going to do it, but I'll just show you how. So we'll say cols, and then we got to open it up. So in programming, numbers start from 0, so we're going to have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, that's 5 elements within our array. So we'll say cols 0 or cols.0 is equal to color.red. So that will actually make our the 0th element in our array red, and you can actually see that too. Let's watch it in the inspector. So our array should pop up here. I'm assuming, yep. See, we can extend it down. It's 5 elements starting from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And watch, this one should become red, the 0th element. Yep, so that worked. That's how to declare it within a script. We're probably not going to do that just because, yeah, we're just not going to do that. So you could really put whatever number you want in here. Like I could put 6, and then it will refresh itself. I think Unity sometimes has problems with this. Yeah, sometimes it refuses to. Well, we'll leave it at 5 in here, but actually within the inspector, since it's public, we can change the size of the array too. Watch this. See, now we just added a 5th element, or a 6th element. Sorry, I mean 6. Okay, so now we want to, let's just choose colors within the inspector. So our first color will be kind of this light red color, sorry. This next one will be a light green. We'll say this one will be a light blue. This one could be purple. And I don't know why I'm choosing the light colors. I like it not as concentrated in the color. And then we can make this one, what color do we not have yet? Pink? Let's make it orange. That's pretty good. Okay, so it's gonna, these are our 6 colors that our bullets will be. Like, it's gonna randomly choose from one of these, but we actually have to make it do that first. So in our shoot function, we're gonna add a new line before it gets the rigid body. So it's gonna create the bullet. Here we want it to give it a color. Then we wanna on this line we want to add the force, and on this line we want to destroy it after 20 seconds. so it doesn't lag our game, you know, so we don't have like a million bullets after the player's clicked a million times. So we're gonna have to write a little bit of code here. Here we'll say instance dot get component, and then we'll say renderer. It's really important that you say renderer, not material. Dot material dot color is equal to, and here's where you actually have to use, I think it's a method in Unity. I could be wrong, it might be a class or something, but I think it's a method. I'm pretty sure it's a method. I could be wrong on that. Here we want to say cols, we want to get our array, and then we want it to be some random number within this array, right? So here's where we're going to use, yeah, okay, it is a class. It's a class. We're going to say random.range, and that's a function. Range is a function within the random class. And then we're going to say from 0, right? Because our array starts at 0. And here's a cool thing we can do. Could we say 5? Or I mean 5, yeah? No, because it's 6 now, right? Yeah, we change it to 6 in here. Could we say 5, so it's either going to be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Yes, but that would make it annoying, because what if we decided we wanted 7 colors later? Well, there's a cool way to do this in Unity. I'm just going to change it to 6 up here too. Well, actually in programming in general, not just Unity. We can say cols.length, and that will actually get the largest element in the array, if that makes sense. Largest isn't the right word, but the last element. It's better phrasing, I don't know. So then we're going to close that up. And then we're going to close the array brackets up too, and we'll save it. And that should, so what this is saying is it's getting the instance of the game object, it's grabbing the renderer, then the material, then the color of the material of the renderer, and it's assigning it to cols, and then this randomly selects a number between 0 and however big our array is, and so it will randomly select one of those elements in the array, and then it will put it in these brackets, and then that will get applied to this. If that made sense. It's a little advanced, but it makes sense, I think, I hope. Okay, so now that we have that, I think it actually should just work. Yeah, so there we got purple, yep, see, so we have random colors now. And I could really change the colors too, so let's say I don't like this orange color, it's too close to yellow, I can make this black. And hopefully I get a, yeah, there's some black ones. So it's pretty cool. The actual shooting system isn't really polished because I did that in just a couple seconds, but the color system's great. I hope that made sense. If it didn't make sense, you can either leave a comment or reply with an email or something like that. Yeah.